Welcome to Atlantic Cape Community College's Asbestos Management Plan Awareness Training. Atlantic Cape Community College is committed to provide and maintain safe and healthy conditions for its employees, students, and visitors. Atlantic Cape has developed an asbestos management and operations and maintenance program to manage asbestos-containing material, or ACM, in accordance with all applicable federal, state, and local regulations. What you need to know about asbestos. The slides from this training, a list of the asbestos-containing materials identified at each of our campuses, and a copy of Atlantic Cape's Asbestos Management Plan are attached to this training so that you can download and print them for your reference. This training will be assigned annually. However, feel free to return to this training course at any time. Should you have any further questions after finishing this course regarding any of the materials we've discussed, please contact Mary Simpson, the Compliance Officer, at msimpson@atlanticcape.edu. Some definitions we'll be using in this training are as follows. Asbestos is a natural material made up of tiny fibers. The most common type of asbestos is chrysotile. Asbestos-containing material, or ACM, is also known as asbestos-containing building material. Asbestos Program Manager, or APM, is the Atlantic Cape employee that has the authority and is responsible for overseeing and/or designating qualified employees to oversee all asbestos-related activities. Asbestos Operations and Maintenance, or O&M, the manner in which any known friable or potentially friable asbestos materials are managed as required by the U.S. EPA. This may include the repair, removal, inspection, or encapsulation of asbestos materials. Friable asbestos is material containing more than 1% asbestos, which when dry can be crumbled, pulverized, or reduced to a powder by hand pressure. Non-friable asbestos are materials that contain more than 1% asbestos but cannot be pulverized under hand pressure. Presumed asbestos-containing material is any material that is suspected of containing asbestos in buildings or renovations constructed prior to 1988, unless sampled and analyzed by an accredited laboratory. Surfacing ACM is any sprayed-on surfacing treatment such as spray-applied fireproofing or even acoustical ceiling tile textures. Thermal system insulation, or TSI, is any asbestos-containing material which is applied to pipes, boilers, boiler tanks, ducts, or other systems to prevent heat loss. In 2025, Atlantic Cape conducted updated ACM surveys at all of its campuses. These surveys and inspections for the presence of asbestos were conducted by trained and licensed contractors. The surveys are available to anyone upon request. Notification and labeling. The APM or their designee will notify building workers, occupants, and outside contractors about the location and physical condition of ACM and stress the need to avoid disturbing these materials. Contractors and subcontractors shall review the asbestos management plan and the asbestos inspection reports for their information. The APM will decide which notification procedure will be the most appropriate for building occupants. The following forms of employee or occupant notifications will be used. written notification, sending annual email notification to faculty and staff, and direct them where they can obtain copies of the Asbestos Management Plan, Inventory, and O&M. Awareness and information sessions. Annual awareness training will be provided to custodial, maintenance, and trades individuals via the Vector Solutions training database. Area posting and material labeling. In service and maintenance areas, postings and labeling will be used to remind maintenance and custodial employees and tradesmen not to inadvertently disturb the ACM. Labeling, as opposed to notification, is not intended as general information. It serves as a final line of defense to prevent unprotected individuals from disturbing ACM or entering areas where repair or renovation activities involving ACM are underway. Signs that can be placed at entrances to areas, such as boiler rooms, where ACM is prevalent shall read, "Caution, asbestos hazard. Do not disturb without proper training and equipment." Warning signs placed directly on ACM shall read, "Danger contains asbestos fibers. Avoid creating dust. Cancer and lung disease hazard." Facilities operations, custodial and business services, and the plant project manager and other departments may contact the compliance officer for assistance and/or other procedures where their work or contractors may disturb any suspect asbestos materials prior to starting such activities. Facilities operations and the plant project manager will notify personnel of asbestos abatement projects and provide a time frame for their start and finish. Roles and responsibilities. The Asbestos Program Manager, or APM, is Dominic Sambucci, our Chief Business Officer. His responsibilities are the authority to oversee and/or designate qualified employees to oversee all asbestos-related activities in all campus buildings, including inspections, O&M activities, and other abatement actions. The APM will either train building workers in O&M techniques or ensure that such worker training takes place. In addition, the APM should oversee the custodial and maintenance staff, contractors, and outside service vendors with regard to all asbestos-related activities. Facilities Operations Supervisors: Jack Taggart in Mays Landing, Rick Garwood in Atlantic City and Cape May. Their responsibilities are to ensure that the facilities maintenance staff adheres to the elements of this plan, including completion of assigned annual training, adherence to safe work practices, and immediate reporting of any disturbance of ACM. Maintains signs alerting students, faculty, staff, tenants, other building occupants, and contractors of the location and presence of ACM. Enforces job site controls for work involving or which may disturb ACM, and that staff adhere to safe work practices. Ensures that biannual inspections of all ACM are conducted and documented. Ensures that contractors have been notified of the presence of ACM or PCM in the areas in which they are working and have signed admittance sheets. The Custodial and Business Services Supervisor, Stephanie Davies, is responsible for ensuring that the custodial and business services staff adhere to the elements of this plan, including the completion of assigned annual training, adherence to safe work practices, and immediate reporting of any disturbance of ACM. The Plant Project Manager, Michael Tolson, is responsible to ensure that contractors have been notified of the presence of ACM or PACM in the areas in which they are working, have signed an admittance sheet documenting their presence on campus, and have been made aware of this plan and must adhere to safe work practices. He will advise the compliance officer when ACM remediation is planned and completed so that the asbestos inventory can be appropriately updated. ensures that contractors adhere to the elements of this plan, including adherence to safe work practices and immediate reporting of any unplanned disturbance of ACM, and enforces job site controls for work involving or which might disturb ACM. This is a copy of the contractor's acknowledgement that they will sign when they come onto the site before they do any work, acknowledging that we have given them a copy of our asbestos management plan and our asbestos inventory. The compliance officer, Mary Simpson, is responsible for ensuring this plan and the asbestos inventory is up to date and current, ensures that training materials are current and reflect the elements of this plan, and provides support and compliance assistance to the APM, facilities operation, and custodial and business services supervisor, as well as the plant project manager. Operations and Maintenance, or O&M. The APM, Facilities Operations Supervisors, Custodial and Business Services Supervisor, and the Plant Project Manager will coordinate all asbestos O&M activities and abatements. This includes, but is not limited to, established activities such as floor care, ceiling material care, pipe insulation care, and other standard maintenance responses that have the potential to disturb presumed asbestos or asbestos-containing materials. Asbestos abatement and removal. There are several types of asbestos abatements that may be conducted on campus that OSHA classifies as follows. Class 1 involves the removal of ACM or PACM surfacing materials and thermal system insulation. Class 2 asbestos work involves the removal of ACM, which is not surfacing, or TSI. Class 3 asbestos work involves the repair and maintenance of building systems, which may involve the disturbance of ACM or PACM. Class 4 asbestos work may put employees in contact with ACM or PACM materials, but where no disturbance occurs, such as cleanup of asbestos-containing waste and debris after construction or disturbance. And finally, emergency response abatements. In all of these asbestos abatement projects, they will be performed only by licensed asbestos contractors. Atlantic Cape employees are not trained for asbestos abatements and are prohibited from attempting any abatement or cleanup work. This work will only be performed by qualified contractors who meet the OSHA worker protection regulations. Air monitoring. The APM and the plant project manager will assure that the asbestos contractor provides all required air monitoring where applicable. Records of such monitoring will be maintained indefinitely in the Facilities Operations Office in L Building as part of the asbestos management plan. Disposal of asbestos. ACM material removed during an asbestos O&M operation by a contractor shall be placed in properly labeled asbestos disposal bags. Contractors performing asbestos abatement projects will dispose of abated ACM in a certified asbestos disposal facility and follow all federal, state, and local notification requirements. A waste manifest or similar tracking document shall be completed for each shipment of material to an asbestos landfill. Periodic surveillance. At least once every 6 months after this plan is in effect, Atlantic Cape shall conduct periodic surveillances in each building that contain ACM or ACBM or is assumed to contain those materials. Each person performing periodic surveillance shall visually inspect all areas that are identified in the plan as ACM or PACM. They shall record the date of the surveillance, his or her name, and any changes in the condition of the materials, and submit to the designated person for inclusion in the plan record keeping. A copy of the semi-annual surveillance report template is on the following slide. These are the visual assessment rankings of ACM during the biannual inspection. 1 equals none. The materials appear to have complete integrity, no deterioration from physical damage, product deterioration, water damage, etc. 2 equals slight. Selected areas appear to have minor deterioration. 3 equals moderate. Noticeable damage and deterioration. 4 equals extreme. Visible deterioration, visibly friable, crumbling, and flaking. Any ranking above the number 1 must be reported to the APM so that corrective action can be initiated. This is an example of what the table will look like for the periodic assessments of ACM. Training. There are many levels of asbestos training. OSHA requires worker training programs for all employees exposed to fiber levels, either measured or anticipated, at or above the action level, which is 0.1 fibers per cubic centimeter over an 8-hour time-weighted average, or the excursion limit, which is 1.0 fibers per cubic centimeter over a 30-minute time-weighted average. Since Atlantic Cape employees will not be involved in asbestos abatement projects that could expose them to fibers above these limits, Atlantic Cape will only provide awareness training. The awareness level training is designed for departments whom, in the course of their duties, may accidentally disturb asbestos-containing materials. The employees shall complete asbestos awareness level training through Atlantic Cape's Vector Training Platform. Per the regulations, new custodial and maintenance or trade employees must receive awareness training within 60 days after starting work. Record keeping. The APM or their designee will maintain records of all known asbestos-containing materials and removals. The information shall be updated as new information becomes available through building surveys and project inspections. These records will be maintained indefinitely. On large-scale asbestos projects, the APM or their designee will maintain a comprehensive file of all information related to the project per the regulations, as well as all waste manifests. All contractors will be selected and awarded projects based on Atlantic Cape's Purchasing Department requirements, and all contractors must provide documentation of proper federal, state, and local training and certifications to the plant project manager. The following requirements must be followed by all contractors. Access to the contaminated or regulated area should be secured and signs posted to prevent unauthorized persons from entering the work area. Signs should read Danger Asbestos, Cancer and Lung Disease Hazard, Authorized Personnel Only. Respirators and protective clothing are required in this area. Emergency exits must remain in operation. Regulatory notification is required. All procedures recommended or required by federal, state, and local agencies for abatements should be used. These include containment barriers, negative pressure ventilation, personal respiratory protection, protective clothing, decontamination facilities, HEPA vacuums, wet cleaning, and air testing. All debris and materials used should be discarded as asbestos waste. Following completion of the above actions, Conduct proper air monitoring to determine if response actions were sufficient. Use visual and air clearance protocols prescribed by federal, state, and local regulations prior to reoccupancy. Asbestos inventory. Before we discuss the asbestos inventory, I just want to go back to the definition of asbestos-containing material. It means any material containing more than 1% asbestos. This is a quick table showing what buildings we actually discovered asbestos-containing materials in, what buildings have presumed asbestos-containing materials, and what buildings have none. This slide and the following slide show where asbestos-containing materials, or those materials that contained more than 1% asbestos, were discovered in each building. It should be noted that there were other materials that contained 1% or less of asbestos. So by definition, they were not ACM, but they still need to be identified and addressed properly if disturbed or remediated. You can get the full asbestos inventory attached to this training for download. Again, this is the list of materials that contain more than 1% asbestos. There were lower levels of asbestos found in some materials, and the list is attached to this training that you can print for your use. If you have any questions at all before you disturb any materials, and it's not clear to you what materials contain asbestos, please contact your supervisor, the compliance officer, one of the facilities supervisors, the plant project manager, or the APM. Again, in buildings B1, 2, and 3, G building, H building, S building, and U building, no ACM was discovered. There was no asbestos at all, 1% or lower, in any materials, and there was no presumed asbestos-containing material. In buildings M and N and Cape May, there was no asbestos-containing material discovered, and there was no asbestos materials 1% or less discovered. There were presumed asbestos-containing materials in the form of fire doors. D2 was not evaluated in our current survey because asbestos remediation had been done during the 2020-2021 renovations. We're now going to go over the locations of ACM by definition. A building. Approximately 350 feet of white 9-inch by 9-inch floor tiles were found in A105 and 106 that contain asbestos. Additionally, approximately 24 pipe insulation elbows and joints were visible in rooms A105, 107, and A111. However, additional asbestos-containing pipe insulation may be present in the crawl space and or above the drop ceilings in other areas. This photo shows an example of the 9 by 9 floor tile in room A105. These photos show a close-up view of asbestos-containing white 9 by 9 floor tiles in room A105, and also a view of damaged floor tiles in room A106. The photo on the left is a close-up view of asbestos-containing pipe insulation elbows and joints in room A111, and it also shows the access to the crawl space in room A111. Asbestos-containing black mastic was found in C building, in the control room for the auditorium and rooms C116, C119B, C123, the hallway, C130, C130A, C132, C134A, C136, C137, C138, C138A, C154, comprising approximately 2150 square feet. Also, 42 fire doors were present that are presumed to be asbestos-containing. Here is a view of the theater control room and a view of the white 12 by 12 floor tile located atop asbestos-containing black mastic in the control room. Here we have a view of 12 by 12 floor tile located atop asbestos-containing black mastic in room C116, and also a view of 12 by 12 floor tile associated with asbestos-containing black mastic in room C119B, and a view of white 12 by 12 floor tile located atop asbestos-containing black mastic in room C138A, and a view of similar floor tile located atop asbestos-containing black mastic in room C132. This is a view of two fire doors located in C building proximal to the cafeteria. Approximately 3,200 square feet of white 12 by 12 floor tile with brown streaks containing asbestos were located in building D1. Here we see a view of the library reception area, room D106A, and the asbestos-containing floor tiles are covered by carpet. And we also have a view of a standard tutoring room, D113, located on the first floor. Here's a view of the storage area, or room D118, and a close-up of the 12 by 12 floor tile. This is two views of an office, room D118, A and B. The utility area and another office. A view of the administrative area and another office on the first floor. And a view of the mechanical room. In E building, gray floor tile and associated black mastic, plaster ceilings, gray window caulk, and pipe insulation elbows and joints were shown to contain asbestos. Additionally, 5 fire doors observed throughout were assumed to be asbestos-containing. The slide on the left is a view of asbestos-containing pipe insulation elbows and joints located atop the drop ceiling in the lobby. On the right is a view of room 104 and the associated tile. The slide on the left shows the asbestos-containing plaster ceiling in room 105, and the slide on the right shows the windows in room 106 that have asbestos-containing gray window caulk. On the left is a photo of room 112 and the associated asbestos-containing tiles, and on the right you see a typical placard observed on a fire door. Approximately 2,200 square feet of black mastic was determined to be asbestos-containing in F and R buildings, and the interior boiler components and fire doors are presumed to be asbestos-containing. Here's a view of the hallway and the receiving room, R102. Here's an office in R102 and the mailroom in R103. Here's a view of the print shop and a close-up of the floor tiles in the print shop. Here's a view of a standard fire door in building FR and a view of the mechanical room, R105. Here's a view of central stores in F building and a close-up of the floor tile. And these are two views of the boiler room in F building. Asbestos-containing black mastic was discovered in room J171. Additionally, about 4 fire doors were observed throughout and assumed to be asbestos-containing. No other ACMs were identified as part of our survey. This is a close-up view of the floor tiles overlying asbestos-containing black mastic in room 171. In K building, black mastic associated with cream-colored 12 by 12 floor tiles were identified in room K116, and 2 fire doors were observed connecting buildings K to building A. On the left, you see the cream 12 by 12 floor tiles in room K116, and on the right, you see fire doors connecting buildings K to building A. The black mastic associated with the tile throughout L building was shown to contain asbestos. It's mostly covered with carpet, with the exception of the hallway, the IT room, and the storage closet. This is a view of the entrance and a view of the hallway, and a view of the IT closet, and a view of the asbestos-containing black mastic. This is a view of the storage closet and the bathroom. No asbestos-containing materials were identified in M and N building. However, fire doors were observed in the building and are assumed to contain asbestos. This is a view of a standard fire door in M building and a view of the placard. Other than fire doors located throughout campus that are PACM, no ACM was discovered during the survey at the Cape May campus. East Campus. Asbestos was discovered in the black sink undercoating in the break room of the subject building, as well as 1 sample of joint compound. No other ACMs were identified through sampling and analysis. However, the fire doors throughout the building are assumed to be asbestos-containing. This is a view of the break room and a view of the asbestos-containing black sink undercoating. This is a view of the asbestos-containing joint compound and a view of 2 standard fire doors. Atlantic City. Black floor leveler was discovered under the carpet in room 208. Pipe insulation was discovered in the maintenance room on the 1st floor in room 122. Floor tile and black mastic were discovered in the security room located between the 1st and 2nd floors off the center stairwell, and no other ACMs were identified. However, there are fire doors that are presumed to be asbestos-containing throughout the building. Here's a view of the maintenance room, room 122, located on the first floor at the Atlantic City campus, and a view of the asbestos-containing pipe insulation. This is a view of the security room and a view of the asbestos-containing 9 by 9 inch floor tile located in the security room. This is a view of room 208, which is a standard classroom, and a view of the asbestos-containing black floor leveler located beneath the carpet. This is a view of 2 standard fire doors located on the first floor and the placard on the doors. Now we're going to discuss some safe work practices, which are important to minimize the disturbance of ACM and the subsequent release of asbestos fibers. You can accomplish this by staying out of physical contact with materials that contain or are presumed to contain asbestos. All personnel at Atlantic Cape Community College must observe the following work practices to avoid or minimize fiber release during activities that may affect ACM and PACM. First and foremost, consult the asbestos inventory before beginning any new work assignment if you are unsure of the presence or absence of ACM or PACM. Do not drill holes into material containing asbestos. Do not hang pictures, signs, except for asbestos warning signs, clothing, plants, or any other articles on structures covered with materials containing asbestos. Do not saw, sand, or grind floor tiles, hardboard panels, or other materials that may contain asbestos. Do not damage materials containing asbestos while moving furniture or other objects. Do not install curtains, drapes, or dividers in a way that will damage materials containing asbestos. Do not dust floors, ceilings, moldings, or other surfaces with a dry brush or sweep with a broom in an environment containing asbestos. Do not use an ordinary vacuum to clean up debris containing asbestos, and only do so if you are properly trained and authorized to do so. Do not remove ceiling tiles below materials containing asbestos without wearing proper respiratory protection, clearing the area of other people, and observing asbestos waste disposal procedures. Do not remove ventilation system filters in a dry state, and do not shake ventilation system filters. Any asbestos-containing mastic under missing tiles should not be disturbed. Mastic may be covered with a new non-asbestos tile or tested and abated as necessary. If the mastic is ACBM, it can only be removed by a licensed asbestos contractor. Guidelines for maintaining floors with asbestos-containing vinyl tiles. Floor tiles often contain asbestos. Because of this, you must perform routine floor care very carefully so you don't cause asbestos fibers to get into the environment. Follow these guidelines to reduce the chance of releasing asbestos during your floor maintenance activities. This is a worksheet published by OSHA titled Protecting Workers from the Hazards of Asbestos-Containing Flooring Material Maintenance. It is attached to this training for you to download and print for your reference. Stripping asbestos floor tiles. Strip the floor as few times as possible. Only strip the floors when the building is not occupied during the summer and other vacation periods. Before you begin, make sure you thoroughly understand how to operate the machines. Know which pads are for which types of floor care maintenance operations. First, apply a compatible floor finish remover or stripper with a mop. Allow enough time for the stripper to liquefy the finish. Make sure you know how to safely handle the different chemical products used in this activity. If you have any questions or problems, consult with your supervisor and the safety data sheet for the product and ask for additional training. Always strip the floor while it's wet. Scrub the floor using the least abrasive pad or brush possible. Generally, the black pads are the most abrasive, the white pad the least abrasive. Run the machine at a low rate of speed, between 175 and 300 RPMs. Use a wet vacuum, preferably one equipped with a HEPA filtration system, to thoroughly clean the floor and remove the old wax and finish. If necessary, repeat this operation until all the existing finish is removed. Thoroughly rinse the floor after all finish is removed. Finishing your asbestos floor tile. Applying a sealer. If you can, apply 2 or 3 layers of a good sealer to the tiles before you apply your finishing coat. This helps to keep contact with the floor tiles to a minimum during future floor maintenance activities. Applying the finisher. Again, apply several thin coats of a good finisher. Allow each coat enough time to cure and dry before applying the next coat. Dry buffing the floor. Make sure your floors are well sealed and/or finished before you begin. Run the machine used to buff the floor at a lowest rate of speed possible, 300 to 1100 RPMs. Maintaining your floor tiles. Routine cleaning. Use a wet mop for routine cleaning whenever possible. If you do dry mop, don't use a petroleum-based mopping product. It eats away at the wax. Spray buffing. Whenever you spray buff with a polishing or rejuvenator liquid, use the least abrasive pad possible. Run the floor machine at a lowest rate of speed possible to get the job done, 175 to 300 RPMs. Wet scrubbing. Whenever you wet scrub the floor with a neutral cleaner or water, use the least abrasive pad possible. Run the floor machine at a lowest rate of speed possible to get the job done, 175 to 300 RPMs. Use a wet vacuum, preferably one equipped with a HEPA filtration system, to pick up the resulting liquid. After the floor is dry, recoat it with a compatible finish. The 4 main points to remember. Use the least abrasive pad you can. Operate the floor machine at the lowest rate of speed possible. Use a wet vacuum equipped with a HEPA filter to pick up liquids resulting from floor maintenance activities. And be sure to follow the manufacturer's recommendations when using any floor cleaning and finishing products. The slides from this training, a list of the asbestos-containing materials identified at each of our campuses, the OSHA guidance for maintaining asbestos-containing flooring material, and a copy of Atlantic Cape's Asbestos Management Plan are all attached to this training that you can download and print for your reference. This training will be assigned annually, however, feel free to return to this training course at any time. If you have any further questions about asbestos, about Atlantic Cape's Asbestos Management Plan, or any other health, safety, or environmental concerns at any of Atlantic Cape campuses, please contact Mary Simpson, the Compliance Officer, at msimpson@atlanticcape.edu. Thank you all for helping to keep Atlantic Cape a great place and a safe place to work.